Man, I really wish I could make these videos with music on. I get copyright tags, so I have to do it without. I've had a crazy day, so I figured I would talk about my crazy day because this is how. Because my life is. Sometimes I think my life is like a TV show. I suppose everybody has a bit of a fantasy about that, like I don't know, like a superstar complex. Like think you're special and everybody gives a shit. That's not exactly what I mean. I mean that sometimes my life is actually dramatic, like it was written by writers for whatever reason to entertain, not where the stuff actually happens to me every day, but I swear it does. So I've been planning on a couple of new videos and I haven't got them completely laid out the way that I want yet. So the last video that I made it was less than 2 weeks ago, and it was 20 degrees out maybe and snowing, and I was depressed because that's how it is around here. 20 degrees out and snowing one day, and then less than a week later it's 75 and extremely humid. While I was preparing to make my next video, I decided I would do a little interim one with a day in the life of me, how my life seems to go. It's always something. So in the last couple of weeks I've also had a hard time because I've had to admit that I need to close down a business that I started several years ago because I'm not making enough money, and I'm going to have to transition into a job where I'm going to have to work for somebody else, which is hard enough in itself to have to admit that I couldn't do what I wanted to do, at least not make enough money at it. Also hard to have to go work for somebody else again, and the weather didn't make it any easier, so one of my current tasks is to empty out my the space that I have, and unfortunately a lot of the stuff has to be stored. And you know, that in itself is always, I think anybody who's ever done that knows how depressing that is. I mean, you're just throwing good money after bad, plus you have to spend a lot of time, and on top of that I'm dealing with having to, I guess admit failure. So it's been a little bit difficult. I quit smoking. I've been trying to be healthier lately, and we're still doing good with that. It's been 3 months and a couple of days since I quit, so at least that's still static. But this is the kind of day that I have, though. This I don't know how this kind of stuff happens to me, but it just does. So I take my daughter to school this morning, come back home after that, park the car in my assigned parking space in the apartment that I live in, where I can see the car out my window, see the lot on the 3rd floor, so I've got a pretty good straight view to where my car is parked. And I'm sitting at my desk, shutting my computer down, getting my stuff ready to go. Just about to be out the door, I look out and a car pulls in. A car that I didn't recognize as living there, and there are not very many other cars in the lot. It houses maybe 40 cars, and there may be 3 other cars there, assuming most of these people are at work. So this guy pulls in, and I don't know who he is, and I look, and the guy gets out of the passenger seat and sure enough walks up to my car and opens the door. Okay, now the door wasn't locked. I don't generally lock the doors because I don't keep anything valuable in here, because I'm sure some of you would agree with me, it costs a lot less to let somebody steal a couple dollars and change and think they got away with something than to have them break your window for a couple dollars and change or anything else. So I see him going in my car, and I go flying down the stairs, and I had I got a kind of car that has a keyless ignition, and I had the key, strapped onto a belt loop. But I didn't grab anything else. I didn't grab my phone. So I run downstairs, I get to the lot, and they are pulling out as I get down there. So, of course, I decide to get into my car and chase them. And part of the reason that I wanted to do that, of course, was to get a better description of the vehicle and to get the license plate. Of course, realizing I didn't have my phone, there was no way that I was going to be able to go back upstairs and get it because it's happening now. So I chase after him, and we go around the block and get onto the next main thoroughfare, which is a one-way, which has pretty heavy traffic. And I could tell that these guys did not know the neighborhood that well, because they kept getting stuck. And about half, after a couple of blocks, they realized that I was behind them, so they tried to drive faster, but they got stuck in traffic. Then they came up to a light, and I'm sure that they thought that they were going to be able to blow through the intersection, as you can at some intersections, but not here. This is an area where the traffic is so thick, you just physically can't go through the intersection between the road construction, the way the road's built and the amount of traffic going the other way, I mean, you just can't sandwich into that. And they're going so slow, even if you do, you're not making any kind of break for it, you know. So they realize I'm right behind them, and they're not liking that. And of course, they don't know what I have on me, you know, whether I've got a phone and taking pictures of them or whether I'm calling the police. So they continued to run. So we got through that light, and there's another light, and it's the same fucking thing. There are so many cars, so many pedestrians, and such congested area. They could not, when they were trying to drive around people and go through the light, and they just physically could not get through. And I could see they were getting agitated. I'm like, man, I'm gonna get you fucking guys. And I gotta admit, what was going through my head was not the most, let's call it, responsible thoughts. Okay, because we have a lot of problems with this in this area. People tend to, especially younger kids, tend to steal vehicles, and then they use those vehicles to go on a minor crime spree. Sometimes they go and steal other cars. Often they just go and drive around and break into cars. Usually they smash the windows, break in, grab change, but they'll do that to 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 cars, and then they ditch the stolen car, because I'm assuming because that way if people see them, they think, oh, I got these fuckers, I got their plate, and I'll report them. But it always ends up being a stolen car, so unless the police actually catch them in the vehicle, they don't get caught doing that. So I decided to stay on them and see if they were going to abandon the vehicle. And so we got through that intersection, start driving, and now it's about a 35 mile an hour zone, doing about 40, then about 50, and I'm staying up on them. I'm the next car behind them, but I was actually giving them a decent amount of space because they started to drive pretty erratically. We got to an area where instead of being like one lane and a turning lane, it's just two lanes, one going each way, and there's a bike lane on either side. And this is an area where there are a lot of pedestrians and people riding bikes that use those bike lanes. You know, and I'm sure every city has this. There's some spots where there are bike lanes where you just know better than to ride a bike because nobody respects the traffic laws. And this is an area where bikes have the right of way for sure. There are often a lot of bikes, and you know better than to try to pull your car into there. It's dangerous, and it's not a good idea. And these guys, in an effort to get away from me, accelerated probably 75 miles an hour, and they're weaving like this, into oncoming traffic and back, into the bike lane and back, and there's a lot of people. So I backed off. I had gotten their plate at that point, and I'm thinking, well, should I stop at a gas station and try to use a phone real quick so that I can get the police on them, or I'll just forget it, I'll just go back home. So I go back home. I had their plate number, and right before I got back to my apartment, I saw a squad coming, so I flagged him down, told him what happened. He said, okay, we'll go look. Please also call it in. So I call it in, leave my name. So I'm trying to let this whole experience just go. No anger, no stress. I have to go to work and pack up stuff and move it to go piss away money in a storage space. Plus I have to move every single thing myself, which is not a lot of not light stuff. So I'm already not happy about that. And I'm coming down this. We have one-way streets around here. I'm going down one-way street. I go through an alley, then I turn back onto the other one-way street where the parking is outside of where my business is. And while I'm in the alley, I turn in the alley and I get 100 feet in or whatever, and I see that there's a car. And this is an alley where you can pass by another car, but you guys do both have to pull pretty far over. Some alleys are bigger. This one's pretty tight. Not impossible, but tight. And this guy's parked directly in the middle, so there's no way to get past him. So I get up to where I'm next to him. I pull as far right as I can against where there's a guardrail and a telephone pole. So there's a telephone pole sitting out, blocking me from going forward. And he has plenty of room to go around my side, and I see that he's waiting for somebody. I'm assuming he lives lives right around here, and it's mostly apartments, though there are a couple of houses, and I think he lived in one of the houses that was off the adjacent street. And so I'm just sitting there waiting, and the guy rolls his, it's not that warm yet, it's still about 50 degrees. He rolls his window down and looks at me, so I roll my window, and I said, hey man, you got enough room? He looks at me and says, so, do you live here? I said, excuse me? I'm thinking we're at his house. He looks like he's waiting for his wife. Some lady's coming walking out. What are you talking about? He goes, do you live here? I said, what do you mean, do I live here? He says, do you live in one of these houses here? So obviously I'm a little frustrated. I said, what the fuck are you talking about? Do I live here? What does that have to do with anything? What are you talking about? Do you got enough room to get around me or not? He goes, well, I'm just wondering if you live here. Because, is the street broken? I said, what? He says, is the street broken? I said, what are you talking about? He goes, why are you in this alley? I said, what do you mean, why am I in this alley? Isn't this a public alley? Did I miss something? He goes, no, I just want to know why you're in this alley. Can't you go around on the street? And again, I'm getting worked up because I already had something happen and I'm trying to not be stressed out. And this guy just decided he was going to play king of the alley with me, right? So now by now his wife or whatever is in the car, and I just look forward. I'm not saying anything. He's still talking through the window at me. We're window to window. He's still talking through the window at me, and I've calmed down, lowered my voice. I'm not saying anything. I'm not looking at him. I turn and politely say, do you have enough room to get by? I believe I'm over as far as I can go. And he goes, oh, well, I think I have enough room. He pulls forward about a foot, and I still can't get the front of my car past this phone pole, okay? He pulls forward about a foot and then stops. And his window's still open, and he goes, oh, I don't know, it's pretty tight here. He's got plenty of room. He pulls the car forward about another foot and then stops. I said, dude, are you going to go or are you going to do this all day? He goes, well, I just want to let you know. And now he's like, just about past my rear window, still talking to me, like I'm right there. He says, I just wanted to let you know that you don't need to be in this alley. You can drive around on the street. So I got out of the car. And I said, what did you say to me? And he keeps talking. This isn't your alley. You don't need to be in this alley. Now he starts to slowly pull away. Like he wanted to see if I was going to run after his car like a fucking dog. And I said, do you have something else to say to me? Or are we done? He pulled off. I get back in my car, shaking my head like I can't fucking believe this. This figures. And I'm gonna let this little Nance and Dandy get me all worked up. Give me a break. Calm down, dummy. So I drive around and pull in and I go into my work. A little while later the police come, take the report, and then they find out the vehicle was stolen and they actually had found the people were doing something. They were in pursuit of them last I heard, so they might have even caught them. I'm sure if they do, they'll call me because they'll want me to ID them, which I'll probably do. I don't know. Anyways, so I'm going to get the truck that I had to move the stuff from my store, and the battery's dead, of course. So now I have to try to find a way to start this thing and debate whether or not I want to put a battery in it so I can drive it around without having to or carry a jumper box. And a couple hours go past through all this, and now it's about 15 minutes or so before I normally would leave my work to go pick my daughter up from school. I get a phone call. It's her mother. Now, I've got full custody of my daughter. We have joint custody. I have full placement. She does see mom, but she only sees mom at my house. She doesn't go with her. So mom calls me and says, hey, I need your help. I ran out of gas. I'm like, you ran out of gas last night. I swear to God, she ran out of gas last night. And I ran her to a gas station to get her gas just last night. Okay? Gave her $3. She says, yeah, I'm out of gas. I said, this just happened. She goes, well, I need you to come pick me up. And now she's about 5 miles the opposite direction of the way that I have to go to get to go to school to get her daughter. And I said, hey, you realize that I have to pick her daughter up. I have to leave in like 15 minutes to be there in like 25 minutes. She's like, you got enough time. I said, you're like 5 miles. I gotta go north. You're like 5 miles south. What are you talking about? I got enough time. There's a ton of traffic right now. It'll take me a half hour to get there and a half hour to get back. Plus, then she'd said she wants me to run her to the post office because somehow somewhere in the last 12 hours, she acquired a post office money order that she insists she's going to be able to cash. So she wants me to run her so she can cash this money order at the post office, then take her to the gas station so she can get gas, and then take her back to her vehicle. And so I said to her again, are you listening to me? I have to go pick our daughter up from school. I have to leave in like 15 minutes. And her response was, so are you going to fucking do it or not? So, have a nice day, sweetheart. And that was that. But I just wanted to tell you that story because that seems to be how my days go. Okay. Like and subscribe. Thank you. Me, I'm in the truck now. Guess what? The positive terminal was loose. Yay. Bye.